Several years ago, an enterprising group of young ladies burst on the scene when they started rebuilding edelbrock carburetors, and I immediately endorsed them. But we've got a problem with that. Let's talk about that today. So, like I said, when they came onto the marketplace, I think I was just as enamored with them as everyone else was. It was just really cool to see a group of young people getting out there, getting their hands dirty, doing something that we've all done for some of us decades and even longer, it seems like. Working on cars and building carburetors and trying to figure things out. What was even more amazing about those folks at Riley's is they were a group of young ladies that just decided they needed the extra money. They wanted to learn more about it. There was some car enthusiasts in it. Riley certainly is, given where she's grown up with her dad and his love of vehicles and race cars and all things fun like that. But it was just a really cool thing to see. And, if you've been in the industry as long as I have, you know that there's very few people out there in the world that are young people anyway, that are getting into this business and getting into the hobby. I think we all struggle with knowing what's going to happen with it down the road. I think that was probably the biggest and coolest thing about it is watching a very group of, cool young people jumping headlong into the things that we've loved for decades. And I endorsed them immediately. As soon as they came on the scene, I had a chance to talk with them, get to know Riley and her dad a little bit. Met at SEMA, met at PRI that first year, and kind of watching them, have that deer in the headlights look of how enormous the industry really is and being so brand new to it. And very had a lot of respect for them. I had my carburetor rebuild service at that time, and after meeting them, I decided to shut it down. And every time I get a request for a rebuild, I send them right to Riley's to have it done. But there's a problem with that. Other than a few things that I've seen them do at SEMA with some rebuilds there with, other groups of young ladies and Riley leading it, teaching them how to rebuild one. But I've never had my hands on the product, so I don't know the quality of the rebuild. Is it just a bunch of young, inexperienced high school kids that are doing it, or is it actually a group of people that are well organized, well understanding of what they're doing, and very conscious of looking for all the problems and things that can occur with a rebuild and things to look for to make sure that it's not a total disaster going back on the vehicle. So that's what we're going to do today. Is I'm going to send them a carburetor, have them rebuild it. I'm paying for it. It's not anything that they're giving to me. My name obviously will be on it, so hopefully that won't distract them at all. They'll rebuild me the carburetor and send it back to me, and we will put it on the GMC truck and test it out, see how it works. Now, I'm going to have to apologize right away. I'm not sending them the nicest carburetor that I have to rebuild. This one has some issues to it that I'm sure they're going to see or potentially see as they go through the rebuilding process. It's a little old. The protective coating is worn off of it, so it's starting to gray out a little bit. I know that they typically do a shark hide application to that, so I want to see how that turns out and see how they apply that. There are some issues with it as well, too. This carburetor sat for a very long time, so it's got some issues with the throttle sticking, as you can see. I haven't cracked it open to take a look on the inside. I'm going to let them do that and see what they find. I think it's probably okay, but it certainly has some issues with fuel and water that's probably sat in this thing for quite a long time. And it shows signs of all those things on the inside, at least the outside. But it is certainly the secondary air valve secondary doesn't work very well. It certainly has been neglected. I don't know that I would call this one abused, but it's been on for a while, and like I say, with that protective finish coming off there, it's going to be interesting to see. Now, there's a couple little things I'm going to do this. It does need a new accelerator pump rod. I will put a new one on there. I don't want them to have to replace anything, but I want them to go through the inspection process and see how it works out, see if they give me a call or see if they run into anything that they're questioning that it can be rebuilt or things that need to be replaced. I'm completely open to all those things, and whatever they recommend, I'm going to say yes to and let them do the full set of work to it. I've got a couple other carburetors here that are a little uglier, that are a little more dirty, but getting them to clean dirt off isn't the issue. I want to see how they handle some of these nooks and crannies and, just a general condition of the carburetor and see how it works out for them. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it boxed up. I'm going to go online and we'll order the rebuild service, and I'll show you that right now. We're on the Riley's Rebuilds Facebook page. Let's go down to their link tree and yeah, there's their rebuilding service link. They're going to rebuild an edelbrock carburetor to the cart. And let's check out and get this thing ordered up. Yeah, let's go ahead and check the email news and offers, see what they send us. Total tax and everything, $160.50. That is pretty cheap. So let me go ahead and get my card entered in, and then, we'll see what it tells us next and get this thing placed on order. All right, we're all set, paid for it. So now that we have that taken care of, let me get this boxed up, sent to the post office, and send it off to Riley's Rebuilds for a little bit of rebuild action.
1 week later.
All right, we got our carburetor back from Riley's, so let's go ahead and get this thing cut open, and we will see how they did. Now, this was the box I sent it to them in, so I think they normally send these in UPS box or a post office box. So let's see what we got here. Well, that's handy. Return the air horn gasket and base plate gasket. That's good. Instructions. Yeah, on the carburetor here. Oh, hey, we got another O'Reilly sticker. That's cool. All right, let's get that on the stand. We'll take a look at her. First impression right out of the box here is they absolutely code this in the shark hide product. I did a video on that. I'll leave that link up above if you want to take a look at it. That's a really nice product to kind of help the outside of the aluminum finish there certainly take on a better looking feel to it. When you clean these in an ultrasonic cleaner, they will get chalky feeling where the protective coating on the outside kind of comes off on them, and it starts to deteriorate away, and this is what that carburetor was. So it for sure had some issues with it, and that shark hide does a nice job, so I like that. That's a nice touch. I did notice one thing really quickly here, is that AVS valve is a little sticky. Now, this carburetor was very, very sticky, so we'll make an adjustment there and see if we can take that out of there. If not, probably a little bit more cleaner in there would help out, but it looks like the spring's in good shape, so I don't need to replace that. But the other one was the throttle, and this one was sticky. And this one, it's come loose a little bit, but it's for sure not perfect. So again, that was just due to the amount of garbage in there. So I know they ultrasonic clean these, but that's just a little detail that would like seeing cleaned up a little bit more. But let me see if it's maybe something else. Nah, it's just that there's garbage on the linkages here. I'm trying to see if there's any. No, there's nothing coming out of there. So we just need to spray down in there, put a little WD-40 on there. It'll be fine. So let's go ahead and get the metering rods out of here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the air horn assembly off. But I guess what we'll do first is one little thing that is pretty universal with folks that don't know what they're doing on a carburetor. Any carburetor, edelbrock, whatever, is if the hardware is excessively tight. It's a natural desire to want to over-tighten things. This generally, the air horn assembly, because all the fuel is below that, doesn't leak very often. It's never an issue. So we'll see if any of this hardware is overly tightened. If it is, it just means it just didn't know what they're doing. Oh, that one's good. Perfect. Yeah, so they did good. This isn't over tightened. That's exactly how tight I would have tightened it. So yeah, that's fine. Let me go ahead and knock the air horn assembly off. We'll take a look on the inside. Got the air horn assembly off. Now I'm going to go ahead and check it, but again, on my instructions when I rebuild a carburetor for someone, I tell them that they have to go back and recheck the floats because, let's be honest, nothing travels well through the post office, through UPS, and you're going to need to reset the floats. It's 100% of the time. I don't care if you buy a brand new carburetor. Doesn't matter what brand it is either. Edelbrock, Holly, Demon, whatever it is, you need to reset the floats again. So we're going to go ahead and just check these and see where there's at now. I do mine a little bit differently, but we'll go by the standard, by the dot in the center where they plug the float, and we'll see where we're at. And they're right where they're supposed to be. So, okay, they got the height set. That one's a little off, but again, that's why you check it. So we will adjust that one, but we're going to go ahead and let's check the drop and see where they're at. Yep, that's perfect. The drop is the one that is easy to figure out if they set the floats or not, because that one typically doesn't change with shipping. It's always the drop or the height that's wrong. So that is good. I will reset that, but I'm going to check the needle and seats here. One thing an inexperienced builder will do typically is leave out the screen on the end of these needle and seats. So let's see how they did. And they installed them, gaskets on there, so good. That's what they're supposed to be doing, so excellent. Other than that, gasket's clean, air horn assembly's clean. So yeah, looks good. You can tell they soda blast these. There's still a little bit of that residue in there. Not that big of a deal, but certainly you can tell that they do that, and I encourage that. That's a good way of getting all that crusty, nasty garbage off there, and it didn't turn out bad. The discoloration that you see on these after they're run, you're not going to be able to fix that. Even if you had a way to coat these, which I don't recommend doing. These carburetors are typically a dime a dozen. No reason to do that, but yeah, you're not going to change that discoloration. Doesn't matter what you do, but that shark hide did a nice job with it. So let's take a look on the inside here. I'm just going to pop one of these boosters off because, again, if an inexperienced builder will over tighten, as we mentioned before. So, oh, that is perfect. That is perfect. That's exactly about how tight I would make those. So just want to see what the gasket looks like underneath here. Again, you know, this is a carburetor review. It's a review of their service, and I haven't done it yet, so we're going to see how they did. Gaskets in there, boosters clean. This is another little telltale sign is people won't take the time to scrape all of the gasket material off of there. These are absolutely perfectly clean, so perfect on the inside. It's exactly the way I want to see it. So. And boosters look good. Again, this carburetor I know is gummy, nasty on the inside, so they definitely fought it, that's for sure. But they've done a pretty good job cleaning it. So I can see daylight down through the air bleeds, so we are good to go. So excellent. Okay, happy with that. Let's go ahead and pop out a secondary booster as well, just for giggles here. Yep. Okay. So again, hardware is a big one. I get that all the time, and then certainly on the videos that we've done on some of the knockoff carburetors, I'm very hypersensitive to bad hardware and over tightening or under tightening, and these look good to go. So again, perfect on the mounting surfaces. They got all the gasket material off. That's always, again, the biggest pain in the butt with cleaning these things. So all good. That is on the correct side. And yeah, looks good. So excellent. Let's take a look down inside here. Get some video on the inside and see how this looks. I'm trying to tell if there's any residue or anything on there. Not seeing anything. Seeing the floats here. Well, all right, let's take a look at the needles here, or the jets here. Another telltale sign is oh, perfect. So I have a feeling that they took these out, but if they did a good job of putting them back in because they are not over tightened. So usually a good indication is what it looks like down in the well there, and it's clean. So yeah, I am assuming, and one thing I haven't asked them or talked to them about, but I'm 95% sure that they use an ultrasonic cleaner. So okay, let's take a look at needle seats here. Okay, they're in good shape. These were again, I didn't do a really deep dive on these. These are a little dirty, but nothing that I would be concerned about. So okay, they were definitely out, that's for sure, because like I say, I know this carburetor didn't idle very well. I do like that they put the caps on there, even though it plugs all of them, but it forces you to put the put the caps on where you want them. So I'm pretty sure we left the plug in there when we sent them to them. So okay, well, I am not upset about the inside of that. That is about to the standard the way I would want it. Let's take a look for giggles here. Whoop. And let's see what it looks like underneath the nozzle. Again, it's just more one of those things where this is a new to me carburetor at this point. Somebody else has rebuilt it, had their hands on it, taken it apart, disassembled it. Okay, check ball and the weight is in there, so that's good. So I'll take a look at the bottom side. This was ugly when I sent it to him, so it is looking a heck of a lot better than what it was. So no issues there. They doesn't appear that they shark hided the underside of this, which is pointless. Yep, that's sort of the same date code that we sent them, so they didn't swap out carburetors on me. So okay, well, let's do this. I need to change the jets in here because it needs to be calibrated to what the 1905 is on the truck. We did that tuning video several weeks ago now. So I'm going to calibrate this exactly the way it is calibrated on the truck. So we pull those jets and rods and get them in here. I'll get this back assembled and we'll finish up. We are all put back together, calibrated the way the truck is now. I did play a little bit around with the throttle linkage, just see if there was, maybe it was still dirty or sticky or whatever the situation, but I think just moving it is certainly okay. It's not hooked up to anything, so yeah, it's going to be a little tight, but that's not going to affect it at all. So good to go there. Let's go get this on the truck. I need to change the fuel line, get everything hooked up for the manual choke, and then get the lines hooked up. And yeah, so let's move it out to the truck, and then let's take this thing on a little test drive, see how they did. Carburetor's back on, and I'm going to add some fuel to the bowls, and then yeah, let's get fired up, get the idle mixture and speed set, and we'll take her for a cruise. Well, the test drive went excellent. Excellent. Absolutely what I expected. Am I surprised? No, not at all. Surprised would be, oh my God, it actually runs. I'm not surprised at all. The folks there are very professional in how they do things, certainly how they portray themselves. Great little program, great group of kids, and certainly they know what they're doing. Now, for the young lady who rebuilt this carburetor, her name is Marcella. Marcella, you did an excellent job on this carburetor. Again, I've been doing this for a very long time, decades, and it is not the easiest thing in the world to rebuild, but it's not complicated once you've had your hands on it for a very long time. You work like you've used this or rebuilt these carburetors for much longer than what you've actually been doing it for. So thanks for doing a great job on my carburetor. There's nothing else that I would have done differently on it if I was rebuilding this myself. All the little things that you could have made mistakes on that most people do when they rebuild these, you didn't make any of those. So for me, that's a pretty big, impressive statement to be able to do those on your own and learn how to do this and produce a very good quality rebuilt product. I would challenge you that in the future, as you're working on these carburetors and really anything in life, whether it's a carburetor or something very simple and mundane that you do every day and something that's very simple, as you see things that can be made better, take note of that. Think about it. How can you do something better? How can you do something differently than what everyone else has done? Or maybe there's a better way to to clean it, to disassemble it, to assemble it, put it back together, to organize things. Those are what takes you from just a regular, enthusiast and operator working on something, but that's what turns you into a really professional builder. And like I said, I think you're very close to being that right now. It's going to be fun for you to grow and to learn all those things. So you did an excellent job. I can't thank you enough for it. The truck runs great. It doesn't run any better than if I would have done it. So amazing job. Thank you so much for the hard work on this one. I know it was a little bit ugly, but you did a killer job. Good work. So if you guys got any questions about this one, certainly about the folks at Riley's, please leave them down in the comments below. If you want to give Marcella a thumbs up, mention her name down there in the comments. Tell her she did an awesome job, because I certainly think she did. And yeah, check out the folks at Riley's Rebuilds. They're really active on Facebook. They've got a YouTube channel here with all sorts of videos of different things that they've done. So thank you, Marcella. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Dane. And all the folks at Riley's Rebuilds. I appreciate the effort on my carburetor. And yeah, I'm going to get back in this thing and go drive it some more. It's fun. So check out Riley's Rebuilds. We'll see you guys later. Bye.